Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020. Today I'm going to talk about the big news from Major League Baseball. We'll go over the NASCAR race from yesterday, which was a thriller. KBO results from this morning, look ahead to tomorrow. Soccer results from yesterday, look ahead to today. In 2013, top 10 movies. All right, Major League Baseball is back. This is huge. They came out with a statement yesterday with their plans for the 2020 season via a statement, and it was obviously the very best news of the day yesterday. I'm trying to find it, but it's a huge deal. The league set a schedule, and it's pretty much happening. I'm just trying to find the this statement from Major League Baseball from last night announcing the plan to have a season. But it's pretty much a done deal, and the season is supposed to start around July 24th, 60 games. No expanded playoffs for this year. That's going to be for 2021 potentially. So we're going to have 10 playoff teams, 5 in the AL, 5 in the NL. So that puts a lot of pressure on teams that are supposed to be good, like the Yankees and the Dodgers, to get off the good starts and play a great 60 games. So, and normally those two teams would get off the good starts, more notably the Yankees and the Dodgers. The Dodgers could be prone to a slow start, but the Yankees, on the other hand, are normally a team that starts pretty fast, despite having some injuries throughout the years. Universal DH is a done deal, so that makes a lot of players that are DHs in the American League more valuable for trades. We don't know if there's going to be anything regarding a trade deadline. Hopefully there is, because the trade deadline is always fun and it's a part of the season, quite frankly. So on John Heyman's Twitter right now, the league has asked the union for two things by tomorrow. Can players get to spring training in 7 days? Will players agree on the opening manual that lays out health and safety protocols for the 2020 season? All reports are indicating that they are going to accept the deal, according to Jeff Passan. And then Heyman says the league notes that provisions in the framework deal rejected by union will not be in place, including one universal DH for 2 years. Oh, wait. So no universal DH, I guess, for 2 years. $25 million in player playoff pool, $33 million in salary forgiveness, and overall earnings of 104% of prorated pay, and continuing playoff pool and salary forgiveness. And then they plan to implement a 60-game season to provide the union agrees with the healthy safety protocols, and that spring training 2.0 to start in a week. Well, really 6 days from now. It's supposed to start July 2nd. And a week from today, if I'm not mistaken, is July 2nd. I'm sorry, a week from today is June 30th. So a little over a week. But spring training 2.0 would start July 2nd. But I guess they're saying to report in 7 days or 6 days. And then Heyman thinks they did the right thing. I think that baseball has done the right thing as well. And then 3 hours ago, Heyman said, well, no agreement means the universal DH isn't yet assured, but both sides see value in it, at least for 2020. The union long has liked the idea, while owners prefer to protect pitchers from hitting for safety reasons with shortened spring season. Let's hope they can agree on that anyway. So hopefully there is a universal DH, so it's still unsure. And then Heyman says MLB and players still have a month before opening day to fashion a deal, or might most likely at least side deals. It'd be silly if they can't find a way to agree on expanded playoffs, which benefits in the long term. It's more big games and extra money, so it'd be nice to find a way. I would like expanded playoffs personally. I just think that it's more fun. You'll see potentially more upsets. That's why every once in a while in the NBA and the NHL you would see a huge 8-1 or 7-2 upset, and everybody would go crazy. The NHL expanded playoffs for this year is a lot of fun, as well as the NBA sort of not expanded playoffs, but more teams involved in the restart. And then 2 hours ago, Heyman says MLB players seem relieved to still get 60 games and prorated. They also get some leverage without extra playoffs, but they appear to especially relish the Gravians' chance. What they gave up, $33 million in salary forgiveness, $25 million in player playoff pool, universal DH for 2021, and labor peace. And then Heyman also says union obviously sees the grievance as potentially very valuable, possibly worth up to $900 million according to player side person. Union likely would have to show MLB was the one dragging its feet. That case might have been better had they stuck to when and where tack of 2 weeks ago. Word is owners are indeed ready to allow the universal DH this season for preserving player health, but not for 2021. That assumes the sides sign off on all healthy and safe protocols. And then the league is planning to use the minor league rule with the runner on second to expedite extra inning games ending, since the spring will be short and the schedule will be tight, and there's a desire to avoid 15-inning games and longer. So I kind of like that idea, the runner on second in extra innings to avoid long games. That would be a lot of fun. And 528 players will be paid $100,000 or less by the league for the rest of the season after declining a deal and forgoing $33 million in salary forgiveness on the table, considering that the $170 million advanced to players in March, and then the union can consider small stipend to tide guys over. All from John Heyman. Baseball's back, and undecided about the universal DH, and it looks like no expanded playoffs for at least this year. So, obviously, with the season coming back around the end of July, I'll probably do a predictions show. I want to say July 24th is a Friday. So I'll probably do my predictions show around the 22nd, 23rd. I'm going to have guests on. I'll probably have Jeff Burns on again. I'm going to get on my buddy Terry Cushman, who has not been on this show in a very long time. I'll probably get on Jeff Maglicetti, Derek, James Celestin, Julian Ghilardi again, Bobby Thompson. Maybe I'll do a first ever three-way podcast with two guests at a time with Bobby and Julian, because they have a show together. So that would be a lot of fun. So baseball's back. It's the big news of the day, big news of yesterday. And as I threw out a couple weeks ago, I said I won't be shocked if they actually get going before the NBA and the NHL in terms of when their games will start. And it turns out I'll wind up being correct here. So a big deal in the world of sports, and with baseball back, we are now set up for an absolutely loaded September, which will feature the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the end of Major League Baseball, teams trying to get those playoff spots, pennant race baseball, that's always a lot of fun. And then the start of the NFL season, college football, don't forget about college football. So that is a lot of fun, and then obviously the NBA next season will start late around Christmas time due to COVID, and then the NHL 2020-2021 season will likely start around New Year's Day when they normally have the Winter Classic. So that would be great if the NHL decided to do that. Now I want to get into the NASCAR race from yesterday. It was an incredible scene pre-race as all the drivers pushed the 43 car, which is obviously Bubba Wallace's car, across pit road. That was a very touching scene that really gathered attention around the sports world. Bubba Wallace had the lead at one point in the race, but he did not wind up winning the race. There was actually a wreck with 3 or 2 laps to go by Jimmy Johnson, which caused there to be an overtime of green, white, checkered. And then there was a wreck on the very final lap, and ultimately the man who won the race, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney's last 2 wins have ironically come at Talladega, including the one he had yesterday, so good for him. In second place wound up being Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who finished in second, but it was like by the smallest of margins that you'll ever see in a NASCAR race. So good for him. And in third place was Eric Almirola, who was involved in that wreck at the very final lap at the end of the race, but crossed the finish line going backwards. Denny Hamlin came in 4th, Eric Jones 5th, Chris Buescher 6th, Alec Bowman 7th, John Hunter Nemechek 8th, Kurt Busch 9th, Kevin Harvick 10th, William Byron 11th, Ty Dillon 12th, Jimmy Johnson 13th, Bubba Wallace 14th. Seeing Bubba Wallace finish in a respectable position for himself really is a good thing. He finished in the top 10 a couple weeks ago as well, and I think that he deserved better than 14th. He had the lead at one point. He should have finished in the top 10 in my mind. I think he ran a really good race for himself. Ryan Preece 15th, Corey LaJoie 16th, Joey Logano 17th, that was my pick. Michael McDowell 18th, Brad Keselowski 19th, Tyler Riddick came in 20th. And then the rest of the results in 21st, you had Brandon Goggin, Cole Custer 22nd, Ryan Newman 23rd, Martin Truex Jr. 24th. That's disappointing for him. Clint Boyer 25th, Matt DiBenedetto 26th, Quinn Houff 27th, Daniel Suarez 28th, Chris Bell 29th, Greg Golding 30th, BJ McLeod 31st, Kyle Busch a very dismal 32nd, Timmy Hill 33rd, Garrett Smithley 34th, Brendan Poole 35th, J.J. Yeley 36th, Joey Gase 37th, Chase Elliott a dismal 38th, Austin Dillon 39th, and Matt Kenseth finished in last. So this is an interesting schedule for the week for NASCAR. You have the truck race in Pocono on Saturday at 12:30. The Cup has a doubleheader, technically, at Pocono. Saturday at 3:30, and then Sunday at 4 o'clock. And then Xfinity Sunday at 12:30, so a rare Sunday race for Xfinity. So 4 races over the weekend in the Poconos, including back-to-back for the Sprint Cup, or quite frankly, the Cup Series. So, should be a fun weekend in NASCAR, and I'll give you picks for the 4 races on Friday's podcast. Now I'm going to pick the KBO games for tomorrow morning. But before I do that, I'm going to look back on the games from this morning. Some interesting results for sure, as there always are. Samsung over Hanwha 11-4, Lotte over Kia 4-3, NC over KT 4-3, Kaiwum over LG 8-3, and Doosan over SK 9-2. All at 5:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Korean time tomorrow. Kia Lotte, Hanwha Samsung, Doosan SK, Kaiwum LG, and NCKT. Picks. I'm going to go with Kia. I'm going to go with Samsung. I'm going to go with Doosan. I'm going to go with LG to bounce back and win. And I'm going to go with the Dinos. Updated standings. The Dinos are 29-12. The Bears are 26-16. 3.5 back of the Dinos, 4 in the loss column. The Heroes are 26-17, 1 back in the loss column of Doosan. The Twins are 25-17, a half game back of Kaiwum, tied in the loss column. The Tigers are 23-19, 2 back of the Twins. The Giants are 500 at 21-21. They are 2 back of Kia. The Lions are 21-22. They're a half game back of Lotte, 1 back in the loss column. The Wiz are 18-24, 2.5 back of Samsung, 2 back in the loss column. The Wyverns are 12-30. They're 6 back of KT, and Hanwha is 10-33. They're obviously the Eagles. 20 back of the Dinos. They are 3 in the loss column back of the Wyverns. Alright, now I'm going to look back on the soccer games from yesterday and pick today's games. We're going to start with the Premier League, which there were a couple interesting results in. Manchester City killed Burnley 5-0. Underway right now is Leicester City in Brighton in the 14th minute. 0-0 right now. I'm going to go with Leicester City. They're the better team. And that's a team that I think is motivated to go to the Champions League and still want to continue to play well. So I'm going to go with Leicester City there at home. Tottenham and West Ham at 3:15 Eastern time today. That's interesting. I'm going to go with Tottenham here. I just think that they're better. They're home. And they should be able to defeat West Ham by multiple goals. Now I'm going to do La Liga results from yesterday and look ahead to today's slate. So, the results from yesterday. Villarreal and Sevilla ended in a 2-2 draw, and Leganes and Granada ended up in a 2-2 draw. 1:30 Eastern time today, you have Valladolid and Getafe. These teams are not bad. Getafe's in 5th as of right now, and the home team, Valladolid, is not the worst team, but they're not very good, though. I do think that Getafe is going to win here on the road. They're just better. I won't be shocked at all if this match is a 1-goal game, though. So give me Getafe on the road. Levante and Atletico Madrid. I gotta go with Atletico Madrid here. They're just better than Levante. I think that they should win at home. Or I'm sorry, on the road. Although I expect that game to be close. Barcelona and the Athletic Club. Barcelona's not losing this game. I'm sorry. Barcelona is much better than the Athletic Club. They're home. They should win by multiple goals. So I'm going to go with Barcelona here to defeat the Athletic Club. And then there's 4 more games tomorrow, which we'll obviously preview and predict on the show. And obviously Bundesliga we won't see until Saturday. So we're going to talk about Bundesliga on Friday's show and pick the games for the weekend. Now I'm going to do my 2013 top 10 movies. Interesting list to put together. There are some good movies that year. 2 honorable mentions for you: Iron Man 3 and World War Z. Both of those obviously really good movies, popular movies for people that are into those certain genres. And now my actual top 10. In 10th place, I have Labor Day. I know, ironic of a title for a movie. A 2013 drama film based on the 2009 novel of the same name by Joyce Maynard, directed by Jason Reitman, produced by Leanne Halfton, Russell Smith, Jason Reitman, and Helen Estabrook. Reitman did the screenplay as well, starring Kate Winslet, Josh Brolin, Gatlin Griffith, Clark Gregg, and J.K. Simmons. Came out in 2014 in the U.S., but it came out in 2013 at the film festival, so that's why it's on the 2013 list. 111 minutes long, and it certainly was a fun and dramatic film. 9th, About Time. This is a really cute rom-com British 2013 film directed by Richard Curtis, starring Domhnall Gleeson, Rachel McAdams, and Bill Nighy. And the film's about a young man with the ability to time travel who tries to change his past in hopes for improving his future. It came out in 2013 at the film festival. 123 minutes long. In 8th place, I have Side Effects. That's another interesting movie, a psychological thriller directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by Scott Z. Burns, starring Rooney Mara as a woman who is prescribed experimental drugs by psychiatrists who are played by Jude Law and Catherine Zeta-Jones, respectively, after her husband, Channing Tatum, is released from prison. It came out in February of 2013, 106 minutes long. 7th, Before Midnight. This is really good. Not a rom-com, but a rom-drama. And it's the third in a trilogy featuring 2 characters following Before Sunrise from 1995 and Before Sunset in 2004. Directed by Richard Linklater, starring Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. And it was co-written by Linklater, Hawke, and Delpy, and the film picks up the story 9 years after the events of Before Sunset, as Hawke and Delpy are now married and spending a summer vacation together in Greece. Came out in 2013 in January and worldwide in June of 2013, 109 minutes long. 5th place, The Great Beauty, an Italian art drama. The filming took place in Rome in 2012. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, where it was screened in competition for the Palme d'Or. It was directed by Paolo Sorrentino. The screenplay was by Sorrentino and Umberto Contrello. Produced by Nicola Giuliano, Francesca Sima, and Fabio Conversi. And the story was by Sorrentino, starring Tony Cervello, Carlo Verdone, Sabrina Ferrelli, and Carlo Bucciarosso. And the cinematography was by Luca Bugazzi. the director's cut, 173 minutes long, and the running time was 142 minutes. Came out in May of 2013 in 4 different languages: Italian, Japanese, Spanish, and Chinese. So this was a really interesting movie. And in Italian, the movie's called La Grande Bellezza. In 4th place, Enough Said, 2013 rom-com, drama, thriller film, written and directed by Nicole Holofcener, starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus, James Gandolfini, Catherine Keener, Toni Collette, and Ben Falcone. Louis-Dreyfus plays Eva, a divorced person who begins a relationship with a guy named Albert, who's played by Gandolfini, only to discover that he is the former husband of her client and friend, Maureen, who is played by Keener. Cute movie. Came out in September of 2013. 93 minutes long, so not a long movie. Number 3, Les Miserables. A really, really fun film. It actually came out at the end of 2012, but it cracked this list because it came out Christmas of 2012 and came out in the UK in 2013. So it cracked this list. Probably shouldn't have, but it did. And obviously, epic historical period musical film. It was directed by Tom Hooper and scripted by William Nicholson and Alain Boublil, who wrote the original French lyrics. Claude Michel Schoenberg, who wrote the music, and Herbert Kretzmer, who wrote the English lyrics based on the 1862 French novel of the same name by Victor Hugo, which also inspired a 1980 musical by Boublil and Schoenberg. And the film stars a great cast led by Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Anne Hathaway, Eddie Redmayne, Amanda Seyfried, Helena Bonham Carter, and Sacha Baron Cohen. Although this was a 2013 countdown list, this actually came out in 2012, but it came out on Christmas. But there were a couple films that came out later in 2013 to crack that list. Spoiler alert, you'll see one in a couple. Number 2, The Spectacular Now. Great movie. It's on Netflix right now, actually. Coming of age rom drama film directed by James Ponsel, written by Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber, starring Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley, based on the 2008 novel of the same name by Tim Tharp, about a high school senior grappling with alcoholism. The film premiered at the 2013 Sundance Film Festival, and it came out here in the U.S. in 2013 in August. 95 minutes long. Obviously, Shailene Woodley, we all know her from Secret Life of the American Teenager, playing Amy Juergens. The irony here is that in this movie, her character's name is Amy. And I just think it's funny that she's Amy in this, and then she's Amy in Secret Life as well. Although Amy in this movie is spelled Aimee, and Amy in Secret Life is your typical way of spelling Amy at Amy. And now my number 1 movie of 2013 is Frozen. This was obviously the big Disney movie to come out last decade. a 3D computer animated musical fantasy film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios and released by Walt Disney Pictures. The 53rd animated feature film from Disney and inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's 1844 fairy tale, The Snow Queen. It obviously tells the story of a fearless princess who sets off on a journey alongside a rugged iceman, her loyal reindeer, and a naive snowman to find her estranged sister, whose icy powers have inadvertently trapped their kingdom in eternal water. Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, and Santino Fontana. Menzel obviously plays Elsa. Kristen Bell obviously plays Anna, the sister. So they turned out to be a really good duo on this movie. And like I said, I think the best Disney movie of the decade. And obviously Frozen 2 came out last year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that did crack my 2019 top 10 movies when I did that about 2 months ago. So yeah, Frozen's the pick for the 2013 top film. That's it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow with KBO results from tomorrow. And I'll preview the golf event coming up for the weekend. I'll have soccer results for you as well. I'm thinking about doing an NHL mock draft for the show tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it'll be another activity because last week I had an NBA mock draft. And at the end of the week, obviously, the 2013 top 10 artists and 2013 top 10 albums. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.